Every time an astronaut goes on camera, pay very close attention to what their body language is telling you and what they're doing. A lot of times they're like, so fun! I'm having so much fun! Look! Whoa! Whoa! Hey, look at this object. Ah! You ever notice they're having so much fun? They're smiling so much. You have to ask yourself, are these people hamming it up for the camera? Or do they act like that the whole time they're in outer space? Let's just logically break down what it might be like to live in outer space on the International Space Station. It seems to me it would literally be like being in prison. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be in jail or prison? I would guess being on the International Space Station would be a lot like prison. You don't get to go outside and experience fresh air and walk around and experience the sun naturally. No, you would be unnaturally all the time floating around in an unnatural environment, causing you to always have to fucking stop yourself from bumping your head, scabbing your knee, or catching your foot on all that hanging wires. Now, every time I point out the dangling wires, people just shrug that off. Oh, what do you know? You're not an electrician. I'm not an electrician. But every electrician I've ever talked to says all those dangling wires are fucking crazy. Could you imagine all those dangling wires in your car or in your house? You'd be pretty pissed off if you bought a new car and there were a bunch of fucking dangling wires everywhere. No, but in the International Space Station, perfectly cool, perfectly acceptable. Dangling wires everywhere. No one ever catches their feet on the dangling wires. Never happens. No one ever accidentally, while going down one of those hallways, ever accidentally catches their foot on one of those dangling fucking wires and rips it out of the side of the wall. You know why? They're professional astronauts. They know how to go down the tunnel just perfectly down the middle every single time so that they never, ever fucking rip any wires out of any walls. Never. They never once, ever fucking once catch their foot on a fucking dangling wire, even though there's nothing but hanging and dangling wires everywhere. Meanwhile, if you look at a car or a house, they pack all that shit away so that it's not fucking hanging and dangling everywhere. Imagine if this is just like everywhere. You just hang and dangle this everywhere in your car, and you get in your car and this is where your fucking gas pedal is. Hey man, it's good enough for the space station. Is it good enough for you? This is good enough for the space station. Is it good enough for you? It's good enough for the motherfucking titty-sucking space station, outer motherfucking space. Is it good enough for your Hyundai? If this was dangling in your Hyundai's ignition, would you be like, what the fuck? I bought a fucking Korean car. I don't want all these wires hanging everywhere, right? But it's a perfectly acceptable thing when you're in the International Space Station. I've asked a few electricians. It's not hard to find an electrician. Hey, electrician, what do you think about this International Space Station wiring that fucking hangs everywhere? And they're like, it's shit. It's the worst I've ever seen. But I guess NASA just doesn't care. I guess NASA just doesn't care. So it seems your run-of-the-mill electrician who works in bumfuck any town you live in will facepalm when they see the fucking hanging and dangling wires. And they'll just say, well, I guess the people who work at NASA don't know how to conceal all that stuff. Just the simple thing of all those goddamn wires hanging everywhere. And you know I'm not making this up. I'm not cherry picking, because there's nothing but hanging and dangling shit all over the International Space Station. And one thing you don't see is astronauts catching their foot on the wires. Oh shit! I caught my foot on the wires. Oh shit! You figure that would happen a lot with them floating around in there all the motherfucking time, and all those dangling wires everywhere. Motherfuckers floating all the time. Dangling wires everywhere. But no footage. They're so fucking perfectly trained, I swear to you. These astronauts are so good, they just don't ever accidentally rip the fucking wires out of the wall with their feet. And you know why? Because they're the best, man. They're the best. Oh, you want me to do a space flip? No problem. No wires, no cuts, no green screen. Totally real, bitches.